How's it going, everyone? And this video is gonna be a doozy because this is a topic we definitely talked about quite a lot on this channel, especially late last year when Black Friday was going on and the holidays were going on, and we were comparing the PSN prices, the digital game prices, and the physical game prices. It was kind of funny to see the disparity of the two, and I say funny, but almost with some of the prices got a little bit insulting, and we'll talk this story. So first of all, Dutch Consumer Foundation is suing Sony for overpricing digital PlayStation games. Dutch Consumer Foundation, SUED, and Consument has filed a collective lawsuit, my apologies if I did butcher the pronunciation of that, against Sony over its pricing of digital PlayStation games in the region. In a translated story, the foundation alleges digital PlayStation titles in the Netherlands cost 47% more than their physical counterparts, despite reportedly lower distribution costs in the area. In 2019, Sony stopped allowing third-party retailers from selling codes for digital games, meaning the only way to buy a digital PlayStation 4 or 5 game is with real-world money or buying specifically priced cards at physical stores. You know, buying like a $20 PSN card, and that just converts into PSN credits, so on and so forth. The Japanese company abuses its dominant position in the console market. Millions of Dutch people have been paying too much for PlayStation games and in-game content for years. This is a monopoly on digital sales, whether together with PlayStation's large market share in the console market leads to a so-called Sony tax that absolutely exists. I don't know, I wouldn't say it's specific to just Sony. I would say digital gaming in general, a lot of times does have a tax attached to it, and we'll break down digital game prices in a little bit, and my experiences covering digital games and physical game prices for a long time. I kind of know how the market works out in terms of the price points. Sony has repeatedly come under fire for an alleged monopoly over its digital storefront. US players unsuccessfully sued the company in 2021. A UK consumer rights advocate filed a separate suit in 2023. Mastercard's statement referenced the UK suit, saying Sony's action violates Dutch and European competition rules. Sony is the only provider that can afford to make decisions without worrying about what competitors, developers, or consumers are doing. This is a bad development that PlayStation owners will increasingly feel in their wallets. Of course, a company like Sony can make money. Now, to be fair, I don't know exactly who decides on the digital game pricing. I think the publishers have a big factor in that. One of the most egregious digital versus physical price points that we saw late last year was Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1. That game during the holiday period, I believe it was on sale for 30% off for $42. It might have even been 20% off for $48. It was in that range, and physically that game during the holidays was literally $19.99. Brothers, I get it that there's gonna be a little bit of a discrepancy between digital and physical game prices. Physical game prices are gonna be lower, especially during a holiday period, because you have so many different physical retailers competing for your dollar. And okay, they're gonna drive prices a little bit lower. I get that to an extent. $20 versus $42 is insanity. I can understand a 10 to 15% difference. When you're talking the game is more than double the cost of its digital counterpart, that's insanity. We've seen this in other instances. Dragon Age Veilguard was recently available on Amazon for $25. You'd be hard-pressed to find that game for any price point near that digitally. I mean, I get it, a lot of you don't want the game, but just for the point of argument in the sense of digital games being far more expensive. Now, how it usually works out from my experience as far as covering digital versus physical gaming. Digital games are going to be more expensive when you're talking about the initial sales that the games are dropping. So, when, for example, we'll take Dragon Age Veilguard. That game dropped all the way to $25 physically, but digitally, it gets down to, you know, $40 it's available for on the PlayStation Store, wherever the price was at. Physical prices generally initially will fall lower, and then at some point physical game prices will hit their basement of, you know, $15 to $20, maybe a little bit less than that. Digital prices will ultimately catch up to that and maybe even go lower. Like, you'll see a Mirror's Edge Catalyst go on sale for $4 to $5. You'd be hard pressed to buy a physical new copy of Mirror's Edge Catalyst for $4 to $5. Physical games usually bottom out around the $10 range, maybe a little bit higher than that, but around the $10 range, and it doesn't get much lower than that. Physical game prices can go lower than that, but it takes years and years and years for them to get to sub $10, if ever at all. You'll see games like Bloodborne's Complete Edition still be $17.50 and so on and so forth. GTA 5 still 15 bucks. There are games that digitally will hold up in price, but it's those initial deals that really I feel insulting. Again, Metal Gear Solid Master Collection, Silent Hill 2 as well, going on sale for, it was like $52, $56 it was going on sale for, because it was 20% off of 70 bucks, and it was going on sale as low as $30 during Black Friday, physically. And maybe the argument extends beyond just deals. So let's break down the release day price. If we're talking stateside, there's always parity. $70 price points digitally and $70 price points physically. Some of you guys may argue, and I can understand why this argument exists, but I'll explain why it's done the way that it is. You're of the mindset that, hey, if a Silent Hill 2 is coming out and it's available physically and digitally, and I'm buying the game digitally, put 2 and 2 together. They don't have to pay a retailer fee. They don't have to pay the cost for printing onto a disc. They don't have any of those extra costs. All they have to do is host it on the PlayStation Store, and you're downloading it directly from them. They are obviously making more money off of digital game sales than they are physical game sales. So why in the hell am I spending $70 on these games? Well, one factor is, and this is more so of the mindset that, you know, Sony would lower the price point if they had the opportunity to do so. Spoiler alert, they wouldn't, but if you think they would, there is another element of the fact that they can't undercut their retail partners. If they started releasing games and they were $50 digitally and $70 in store, they would be undercutting their retail partners, and their retail partners would be upset. Beyond that, the ultimate reality is, even if retail gaming and physical gaming cease to exist, they would not be lowering their price points. The accepted price to pay for top-level games now is $70. If they could raise it to $80, if they could raise it to $90, and it would be universally accepted, they absolutely will. And they kind of are trying to artificially raise the price point of games by doing things like fake early access and locking games behind New Game Plus. But they wouldn't, if the price point's accepted at $70, they wouldn't lower their price point because now all of the sales are digital. No, they're trying to make even more money. They are still going to be looking at how can we raise the prices even higher. There will never come an instance, unless the gaming industry is in an absolute dire strait, that they would be lowering price points of games. Again, these games are expensive and they're looking to turn as big of a profit as they can. And I speak in a general sense. Obviously, there are going to be developers that may have a better interest for the consumer in mind, but generally that's just not going to be the case. Even if the next God of War is digital only, you're out of your mind if you think they're going to be like, oh, it's digital only, let's price it at $50. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. They're trying to make even more money, not less money. When there's an accepted price point of $70, they're going to settle it at $70. And again, they're going to be looking at it from the lens of how can we make even more money off of these games, not how can we make less money, even if physical gaming is completely wiped off. And don't even get it twisted. If it was up to PlayStation and if every region could support it, physical gaming would not exist. Everybody would be playing their games digitally because, again, they are making so much more money off of it. The reality is there is still a significant market of people wanting to buy their games physically, and some regions just aren't going to be able to support download speeds and things like that, that it's advantageous for them to still have physical gaming. But you see what they do these days. They offer digital-only consoles at a cheaper price point. Really, I view that Sony views the sales of their digital-only consoles as a bigger W than selling you a physical console, because if they sell you a digital console, being the digital PlayStation 5 or even the PlayStation 5 Pro, that means a higher level of investment into their ecosystem, and that's what matters at the end of the day. The console is just a tool for you to get into their ecosystem. That's what exclusive games are as well. It's nice to sell 10 million copies. What matters more is to get your investment into that ecosystem, because your investment into that ecosystem means that you are locked into it and that you're going to be spending money, and they're going to be passively making money off of you over time. And content passively making money off of you means those $70 digital game sales, and those aren't going to be lower in price. And that's why PlayStation is in such an advantageous position with more and more people going the digital gaming route. It is a little bit concerning, especially when you look at game preservation and things like that, but most people, while we talk about it on this channel, ultimately the people that watch our videos and the people that consume content like this online, a drop in the bucket, or even if they do have a general idea, they don't care enough. That's just the reality of the situation. There are some people that do care, and I would say it's a significant amount of people in the sense that, you know, those people have a voice, and ultimately they'll lead to certain things happening, like GOG becoming a bigger player in the PC games marketplace, but I don't think it's gonna lead to full-on change in terms of the digital gaming landscape. I just don't think that's gonna happen. And you could say PC and Steam has been in digital gaming for so long. The thing with PC and Steam is PC in totality is an open ecosystem in the sense that there's multiple storefronts. There are platforms that literally sell Steam keys. You're not gonna find that for PlayStation. Sure, you could find PlayStation Plus keys and cheaper PlayStation credit, but you're not gonna find e-tailers, verified e-tailers selling games at a bit of a discount or other storefronts. That's just not gonna happen, and I don't view PlayStation ever opening up their ecosystem to any degree. Look, we got cross-platform play. I think that's the most that PlayStation and Sony is ever gonna do. Beyond that, opening up their ecosystem so there's other storefronts that could sell games at different price points and could drive a cheaper price point, I just don't think that's gonna happen, and at this point there's no reason for them to go lower, and I don't think the digital gaming landscape is gonna change at all. Again, what I find the most insulting is the instances of things like Metal Gear Solid Master Collection being $48 digitally and $20 physically. Like, that's insanity to me. At least somewhat of a parity in terms of digital versus physical game price. Think about how much more money Konami was making off of Metal Gear, the digital sales versus the physical sales. It's ridiculous when you think about that, but nonetheless, that is going to do it for me. I hope I was able to offer you guys some clarity, since I know that this is still a topic that's being talked about more and more, especially as more people are playing all their games digitally. You look at the price points and it's sometimes incredibly jarring. Metaphor was another game that it was going on sale for $45, $52.50. Even something like that where it is a 15% price discrepancy, like, that's still somewhat significant, I would say. But again, that'll do it for me. Unicorn Overlord is another game. $30 physically, $40 digitally. Like, come on. Like, I'm just thinking about these games off the top of my head that I was just like, what are up with these price points? But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. It's something that I really wanted to do this video to offer some clarity. Ultimately, there's not a lot that we can do in terms of the price discrepancy, and I'm sure in other regions it's like even more insulting than what we face stateside. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.